what's up? This is Jason from Building 429. Right now you're listening to my friends on Dispatch Radio.
All right, folks, we're going to continue talking about Winter Jam. We have another great artist. He's going to, as far as I know, he's new to Winter Jam, but what a great lineup. Obviously, Skillet, Carrie Joe. We just had Building 429's Jason on with us talking about the tour and all of that. And Dan Bremnes is on the tour. He's going to be bringing his music to a whole bunch of new fans in an exciting time. Great to have him on. How you doing, Dan?
Awesome, man. Thank you.
Awesome. It's great to have you with us, and let's just get right to the show. I know you've gotten through your, the first few shows. What's been your impression?
It's a really special night. The cool thing is that there's just a whole lot of people that are there for the same reason, and it's Jesus.
Yeah.
And that's always exciting to me. As long as we, as the artists, the performers, make him the star, it's always a good night.
What was your experience with Winter Jam before joining the tour?
I'd only seen it once.
Right.
In Nashville, and to be honest, it was in the arena there, the Bridgestone Arena, and it was just so echoey I couldn't really hear anything. So I was like, I didn't really have an incredible opinion about it.
Okay.
So, but that's just because I'm a music snob, you know?
Well, we understand that, and I got to be honest, I don't enjoy seeing Skillet in these stadium arenas. I know my daughter is a Skillet. She's a total panhead. But I'll take in a song or two. But for me, I've seen them in some smaller venues, and it's actually much better. Like you say, the sound quality can get away from you, especially for a band like that. So
here's the thing, I saw you two this year for the first time in an arena, and it was the same thing. The sound was just like, I'm used to smaller rooms,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I guess it just is what it is. So. Yeah.
Well, and you definitely can get spoiled, I think, with Christian music, with the smaller venues, the church settings, and that kind of thing. I mean, I have like a micro church. I have a little tiny 100-person kind of size church. So Dan Bremnes comes to my church. It's going to be a very intimate affair.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's talk about this. We got all these different bands. We got all these different moving parts that New Song kind of pulls together every year. How do you pull together your set? How do you kind of fit into that cog in the wheel?
Well, I usually travel with a band, but this year I did something different. And so you'll see, if you're at Winter Jam, I've got kind of like a unique-looking little stage. I won't give too much away. I'll leave a little bit of surprise. And I actually do everything on my own, kind of
Awesome.
like a one-man band, and I'm looping. If you're familiar with looping, it's like you build the song right in the spot, it can look and sound really cool, but if you make a mistake, it keeps looping it over and over. So it's a bit of a tight walk, but it's been really fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I know there'll be a lot of folks there to see it. If you don't have a ticket, guys, jamtour.com has tons of tickets and all the information that you would need. $15 cash at the door gets you in. There's Jam Nation, early arrival tickets, VIP stuff with T-shirts and all that kind of stuff. Great lineup. And Dan, you've broken through now with a couple of really big songs. Obviously, Where the Light is the one I think everybody's going to be singing along with you tonight when you're back on stage. How do you go about putting together songs as a writer and doing that, and talk about the journey to get these songs kind of where they are right now?
Well, I think it's different every time. When I go into a room to write a song, there's a lot of stuff that's happened up into that point. So, like I'll travel around with my iPhone and I'll write in my notes. When I kind of have that light bulb moment of like, wow, I really feel like this is something that I need to sing about or God's teaching me. And it's those single thoughts that turn into a song. And I think that's what life is about. We all kind of go through stuff, and in the midst of our joy or our pain, we can get really stuck on that feeling or that moment. But what's God doing? Like, what is he doing from his perspective? And that's kind of my goal and my hope is to take those moments, whether they're good or bad, and hopefully pull God's whisper out of that season.
There's we've talked about it here on the show several times, so I know that you've had your experience with it now. On tour, they have what's called Jam Church. So
yeah.
What has been your experience so far with Jam Church?
Well, I'm kind of embarrassed to say I haven't made it yet.
Oh, my gosh. Dave, you're sleeping in.
Not even.
No, you got your family and stuff, right?
Well, yes. And the last time, like the West Coast Winter Jam, it was just so hectic. We were figuring so many things out. that it slipped by, and then this week I was planning on doing it, and I was sitting in a coffee shop, and I was just kind of having church with a friend, and time slipped by. But that's the beauty of it. You can have church anywhere.
Absolutely.
Now, I do feel a little bit guilty though, because I am a pastor's kid, so just don't tell my dad.
Oh no, we've busted Dan as a PK, so he's gone awry. He's gone awry. So what has it been like trying to balance? I mean, obviously the songs have really grown so quickly. The last couple of years have probably kind of been a little bit of a whirlwind for your family life. How is adapting to that a little bit? I mean, you're not really in the shadows anymore. People are gonna be like, hey, wait a minute, I kind of know you from somewhere, especially there in Nashville.
Yeah, you know what, I had a music career in Canada for about 5 years before moving to the States.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, it hasn't been like a shocker as far as like getting into this lifestyle of being a full-time artist. We had a lot of time to ramp up to it, and all I can say is there's just no way that I would do it if it wasn't for my wife. There's been many times that I've, wanted to quit or just, come back home, do something else. It's hard being away from your family. And that's probably the only rub. If I was a single guy, I'd just be living the dream. I'd be fine. But there's 3 other people now that every decision I make affects them, right? So my wife has been very supportive, and she's been the one that said, nope, you're not done yet. You got to keep getting out there.
Let me close with some words of advice. It's only fair, since you are a pastor's kid. Give a little wisdom from Dan Bremnes of for the PKs that could be listening, especially my own, because I know my daughter will be thrilled to hear some words of wisdom from you.
Oh, okay. So as a PK, I woke up one day when I was about 18 years old, and I realized I know a lot about God, but I don't know God. And that was just my experience. And I think the trouble, or I guess if there's one difficulty about growing up in church, is that it all becomes very familiar. And it's easy to be like, oh yeah, my dad, he knows God, and this guy knows God, and we lose out on the biggest gift that's available to us, and that's knowing God on our own. And it's a really special thing. If you don't, you miss the prize. It's like going to your favorite restaurant and not eating.
Amen. Great stuff. Dan Bremnes, he's part of the Winter Jam team, and an incredible lineup, folks. You don't want to miss it. jamtour.com. Check it out. Skillet, Carrie Joe, Building 429, John Chris, New Song, Jordan Felice. The list just goes on and on. Dan's going to be there, and you don't want to miss what an amazing experience. Check all the dates, because they tour all around. It's over 40 tour dates. You don't want to miss it. Dan, thanks so much again for fitting us into your busy schedule.
Thank you. I appreciate it.